Hi guys, Happy New Year. As you know, this week the focus has been on labor law, employment law, and so far I've covered issues pertaining to your employment contract and probation. So I just thought I'd do a quick video to cover issues relating to maternity leave. As per the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, you are entitled to 4 months unpaid maternity leave. Some employers may decide or may in their contracts stipulate that you are entitled to your full salary. Some employers will give you 70% of your salary and other employers will give you 50% of your salary during maternity leave, but there is no obligation on your employer to pay you while you're on maternity leave. So if you don't have your ducks in a row, you'd be entitled to claim from UIF, the Unemployment Insurance Fund, but you can also use the fund to your salary in the event that you're not getting your full salary during your unpaid leave or during your maternity leave rather. Like I said, maternity leave is 4 months, but if for medical reasons you have to take 6 months, then you are entitled to apply for this 6 months. There is, however, no obligation on your employer to pay you. Well, if they were paying you for the 4 months, there's no obligation for them to pay you for the additional 2 months. And as far as I know, the 2 months after the 4 months has lapsed, there's no obligation on your employer to hold or keep your job open. Ordinarily, during your 4 months maternity leave, the employer is definitely obliged to keep your space open and you can't come back to like no job. Okay, another thing that I think is important for you to know is that during maternity, when you're pregnant, you don't have any obligation to notify your employer of your pregnancy, unless of course you hold a role in a very dangerous job, like if you're in mining or even engineering, and it's a job where your employer will have to make an alternative role for you or a more suitable role for you to continue with during your pregnancy. So there's no obligation to state that you're pregnant. Even at an interview, actually, you don't have to state that you're pregnant. You cannot be you cannot be dismissed for being pregnant. That would be unfair dismissal and your employer can land in hot water for that. So yeah, there's no obligation to say that you're pregnant, but you do have to give your employer a month's notice before you're expected to take your maternity leave. So if you're going for maternity leave in June, then you have to likely report by the end of April to obviously give the whole of your employer the whole of May to make an alternative, to maybe fill your role with someone who can assist temporarily, and obviously to just do a general handover of all the matters or all the responsibilities that are assigned to you. Your annual leave will still accrue to you during your maternity leave. There is a view that if it doesn't accrue to you, then that would be unfair discrimination based on your pregnancy. So basically, during your 4 months of maternity leave, for every 17 days that you work, you do have one leave day. It could be more than 17 days. I'll double check and I'll do a follow-up post to this if it's less than 17 days. But yeah, for every 17 days that you are working, then you will be entitled to 1 day of leave, of paid leave. So your annual leave does continue to accrue to you during your time of maternity. The most important thing to remember though about maternity from this video is that there's no obligation for your employer to pay you during the maternity leave. You can claim benefits from the Unemployment Insurance Fund. Another thing is that your employer cannot fire you during your absence due to your maternity leave. But if you take a leave that's longer than 4 months, then an employer who was paying you is not obliged to pay you for the balance of the 2 months or the 2 months extra that you take. And an employer that was, And an employer and your employer can actually just fill that vacancy if you decide to, go 2 months extra, especially if, you didn't discuss this before actually going on maternity leave. I can see how that can become a problem. I think from what I recall as well, this leave, maternity leave, applies for women who had their children through surrogacy. So the surrogate and the non-carrying mom will also have, will also be entitled to 4 months leave. Yeah, that's where maternity stands for the moment. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, see ya, Mita 2020.